Hi, West Texas, and welcome into another episode of our VCast series, Chat with the Chief. I'm Burt, Sempier, and as always, I'm joined by San Angelo Police Chief Travis Griffith. Chief, thanks for coming back. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me, man. It's always a blessing to be here. We are getting a little bit blown away today, but it's always great to be here.
Yes, definitely windy out there. Just out of curiosity, before we get started, when it's warm and it's, the wind is howling, we saw last week we had the dust storm. How does that maybe impact your officers that are out on patrol?
Oh, man, yeah, you get wind blown and it's hard to hear the radios. It is a little bit more of a frustrating day for you because everything that is normally fairly simple is that much more amplified. So thankfully, it's been pretty minor today. Came in late in the afternoon, I guess, and so we'll see what it does for traffic-wise.
Well, hopefully no disruptions from dust or wind, anything like that, and hopefully the men and women in blue are safe out there during this strong wind.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
All right, so let's get cracking. I wanted to start with a serious story, and you know it's serious when I take out the little notebook because I don't want to get anything wrong. So there were reports on social media that last Saturday evening between 5:30 and 6 o'clock on the Santa Rita area on Monroe Street between Oak and West Avenue that there was a driver who allegedly was trying to get a young girl and boy into their car. The kids did the right thing and ran away and hid. The motorist took off. We know from social media that apparently a police report had been filed. Police were notified. What can you tell us about this? And as a parent yourself, that's got to be kind of the nightmare to hear someone trying to do that.
Yeah, I mean, I think first and foremost, we look at everything from the ground up. Like right now, we're looking at this as talking with the kids and working through with the parents and getting video in the neighborhoods. If there was any major concerns to the public, we would already be putting that out. We're just working through that. It's ongoing. We really can't get too far down that rabbit hole with it, but know that we have some really great investigators, and we're working through trying to find what actually took place and where we're at with it. And if there's anything that comes up where it shifts gears and we need to put something out that is definitely more in line with when we need to find somebody or do something, for sure we're going to be doing that. But we have to take each thing step by step and make sure that we get all the foundation laid of any case, and that's how we do with whether that be with dealing with this situation or a very serious homicide or something like that. It's always the same way.
Of course. On a positive note, Officer Nandin was awarded the School Resource Officer of the Year by SAISD. We saw that the district put out a post, and Officer Nandin looks happy, as does the Superintendent of Schools. That is a great award, and it's fantastic that a member of SAPD is making a great impact in the school that he's working in.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Abel Nandine has been just a pillar inside this department for a long time. He is best known for his community involvement. I mean, like he would give somebody the shirt off his own back. And even whenever he's had his own struggles, he's maintained a high level of respect for people and caringness that is just unparalleled. So to see, it was not a surprise to me to find out that Abel got it because he cares so much and just a great representation of what we want to see from our officers out there dealing with the public.
Officer Nandine, excuse me, I apologize,
That's
officer.
Okay.
So last time you were here, we were talking about motorist and pedestrian safety, and I want to ask you about that again because this past Friday, we had a terrible crash involving an older gentleman who was on a moped and right by the McDonald's by the studio, and he had to be taken to the hospital and was ultimately pronounced dead. On Sunday, there was another collision where a gentleman in his pickup truck kind of veered off the road and hit a concrete pillar. He was pronounced dead. Any words of wisdom for drivers, for pedestrians? Because, like I said, it just seems like this is happening maybe a little far too often.
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, our hearts go out to the families and friends and loved ones of these two gentlemen. And anytime we lose somebody like this, it's always hard. And just let them know that we're praying for them. And that's a tough situation to be dealing with. When it comes to safety, the safety side of things is you never know what's going to be happening out there on the road to drive. Be a defensive driver, right? Be thinking about what other people might do, keeping keep from being distracted, right? That's important. And I think it's just as we go through life, it is a reminder that we're fragile, man. I mean, at any given time, whether it be a minor crash to a major crash, that our time is not guaranteed here. So live in the moment, right? It's called the present for a reason, because it's a gift, right? Yeah. So live here and know that be the best you can be through that. And San Angelo, sometimes people say San Angelo has really bad drivers. I've had the experience of driving on a motorcycle all around the United States, and I can tell you it's bad drivers all over, and it usually has to do with situations that are either, number one, outside your control, or number two, that is distracted. So stay focused, stay on point, and take a little extra time to get there.
One of the things that you brought up when you first became chief was the importance of growing the ranks of the department.
Yes, sir.
And we haven't touched on this in a few weeks, but you recently had 13 cadets go into the police academy. How are they doing? What can you tell us about them? And 13, that's a good number if they all can make it through.
Yeah, and we always know that there's some attrition that goes through that. I mean, we see that attrition rate that when we start an academy, a lot of people want to be the police, right? They're growing up, they want to play cops and robbers and stuff like that, right? But getting down to the nitty-gritty of what it takes to be the police, and the academy is the first place where we start to see people that waver. We do have a mentoring program that we're kicking off, where officers, I don't want to say kicking off, we're reinitiating is probably a better word, but we used to have, where officers that are already currently serving pair up and work with the cadets to help them with studying, because people learn in different ways, and so we try to help them if they're struggling in the academy. So we're excited to see what the future holds, and then once you get out of the academy, man, the next big step is dealing with those that are having to apply what they've learned, right? And that's the part where the rubber really meets that road. And so we're going to see how it works. We're going to do everything we can to set them up for success, but ultimately, it's also where we weed out those that might not be cut out for it, because we want quality people policing, right? And so we're hopeful, and we'll keep on hoping that we stay at an attrition rate that's well within the means, and we don't lose too many. But I am excited for them.
For any men or women that are out there that have thought about being in law enforcement and want to serve with the SAPD, when it comes to going into the academy, what should they keep in mind before, I guess, they make that ultimate decision to say, you know what, let's do this?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is that they treat it like it's a normal day in school or something. You're going to be thrown a lot of information quickly, right? And you're going to be expected to study more often and deal with physical things, doing jiu-jitsu and ground grappling techniques, all while doing fitness routines and requiring to learn. People think that it's just kind of like one section of a book you go to, right? I mean, you have the traffic code, the agricultural code right here in the agricultural world, right? Have the health and safety code, deals in drugs and alcohol. You have to deal with the penal code, the code of criminal procedure. And that's just to kind of get a foundational aspect. Then you start having to look at court cases and what is case law. How does this adapt and mold the laws that you've already learned? So by the time you get to the point where you start thinking about how this is applicable, you start realizing that this is a lot. So coming into it with an open mind, know that you're built for more than what you think you can handle. And we want to see those individuals grow and be strong in both in will and in physicality. And so those type situations, we're always say, come into it with an open mind and know that you're much greater than what you think you are, and we're going to help develop that.
I have to imagine that probably in life, definitely professionally, once you enter the academy, get through the academy, go through your probationary period, for lack of a better term, and then ultimately have that swearing-in ceremony where you're handed your badge. That's got to be a fantastic feeling.
Oh yeah, and I think that's the part that you get to actually enjoy and celebrate your hard work, right? You get through the academy and you get to become a police officer. So you've learned, hey, I have actually completed this difficult task that I thought many times of quitting on or whatever, right? And you have to maintain a high grade average too. Mm-hmm. So it's not just like a 70, it's much higher than that. And so those aspects are important. And we're looking heavily right now at adjusting. We're hopeful that in the next few weeks we'll be able to kind of convert and change the way we do our hiring process, where your test grade normally that gets you into to be accepted, that we're going to kind of flip-flop that around to where your GPA in the academy is what will be your positioning in your class. So that way, because a lot of people can take a test, right? And you might be great at being able to do some reading, writing, and arithmetic type stuff, but learning and applying in the law, right, is where we're really wanting to see that function. So that's what's more important. So we want them to see that you spending a lot of extra time and energy in the academy to learn and grow and develop yourself and develop those around you, this is a team aspect, right, that's going to be the measure that we're looking at to place you in your ranking inside civil service.
Speaking of team, when you meet with cadets, let's just say for argument's sake, you had 10 and 10 were able to get through. Mm-hmm. During the academy process, can you start to see which future officers might make good leaders, might be able to get through the ranks, or does that just kind of happen throughout the course of a person's career?
That's a good question. I think, number one, I think we have enough wherewithal as an agency to know that just because you struggle early on doesn't define you. And so we try not to put labels on anybody, because there's been plenty of times people that actually didn't do just outstanding in the academy ended up being great leaders, right? We've seen people that have done outstanding in the academy that when it comes to application struggled in the field. So, but you can usually pick people out that maybe have some natural born leadership qualities in them to them, that kind of have a leg up in that area. And you see people that are just well-rounded, that generally you think, hey, this is going to make it pretty good. But we try not to put a label on that. And we look at the fact that if you can figure out that you can grab another gear, right, that you can find another deeper place inside you to retain and push through and work through situations, then those are the ones that actually end up shining more throughout their career. So that's because we're wanting to take you to a place that you've never been, right, to show you that your value is so much more than what you thought, and that's where the crux of development and growth of individuals really shines.
Makes complete sense. Chief, any final thoughts or words of wisdom you wanted to get across today?
Nah, I usually kind of have some sort of thought on this, but just off the top of my head, I want to remind everybody that in a world that sometimes feels like it's lost its mind, that remind ourselves to be intentional about being neighborly, about being Texans, San Angelo especially. We sometimes get caught up in left and right and different political beliefs and religious thoughts, and just remember that we're all people making our way in this world, and the more that we take time to appreciate each other and acknowledge each other and help where we can, the greater this community will continue to shine throughout all the noise that is this world.
Actually, one last question for you. I just thought of it, and the Irish in me is very upset. St. Patrick's Day is coming up on Monday.
Yeah.
Any words of wisdom, maybe extra officers on patrol, anything you want people to know to make sure they stay safe?
Yeah, we generally don't have any major issues on St. Patrick's Day. Hope and pray that stays the same. Always wear your green, I guess. I don't know. I just think it does something if you don't. That people pinch you, or I'm not sure.
I'll have my green tie on Monday.
There you go. So that's about the extent I know about that. I'm not very cultured in that. But in San Angelo, people will still, I think they'll like you one way or the other, whether or not you're wearing green or not.
Hey, if the green helps the like factor go up, I'll wear green every day. Chief, thank you very much for your time.
Thanks for having me, brother.
All right, that'll do it for another episode of our VCAST series, Chat with the Chief, featuring San Angelo Police Chief Travis Griffith. I'm Burt Sempier. Thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you next time.